You've already met a lot of the welcoming committee. My name is Sabrina Klein. I'm a volunteer and a board consultant with the MAC, the Middletown Art Center. We're collaborating with Andre's Lounge and working with Clovice Lewis to produce this series. This is the last of a series. You met Barbara Cook, our treasurer, as you came in the door. She's also the executive director of the Lake County Arts Council. And our other staff, Laura is back there saying hi to everybody. Ami's there on the boards. He's sending this all out to the Zoom audience. So if we can keep ambient noise down, the Zoom audience will hear us better. But it's hard when you're in a bar having fun, especially here at Andre's Bar. This is my first time here and I'm loving the space and all of the regulars I've met. Thank you for being here. We're excited. I would like to begin after I've welcomed you, as I just did, and introduced myself. Oh, I forgot one more staff member. I'm sorry, Almendra Garcia. She's back there in the back. And Thomas from PEG TV. I don't know your last name, Thomas. DeWalt? Thomas. Now I know it. Thomas has been filming all of these conversations for us and with us. And so he's part of the team. So thank you so much for being here. I want to start by reading an acknowledgement of the land that we stand on. The Middletown Art Center acknowledges that we operate on the ancestral lands of the people known as Pomo, Wapo, and Lake Miwok, who comprise the Middletown Rancheria of Pomo Indians of California. Today, we deliver the sounds of liberation from here in Lakeport, a little different from Middletown, from the ancestral territory of the Eastern Pomo and Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians. They all have Pomo in their names, but the diversity of peoples, of nations here is quite extraordinary. We stand in solidarity with these first peoples who are the past, present, and future stewards of this land. We recognize the great harm done to them here, as well as their resilience. We pledge to continue to build authentic relationships and work together with them through creative action towards healing both the land and the people. We also know this is just but a small step towards reconciliation and acknowledging real history, but we are proud to take it with our partners in Lake County. So thank you for joining us here. Thank you, Andre, for letting us have this intimate conversation in your space. We're very excited to be here. Sounds of Liberation was conceived by Clovice Lewis. Clovice, many of you already know. I saw how many people gave him a hug when we came in. Clovice has a deep and passionate belief that this is a good time for us to be telling each other our stories. And he has his own reasons for why his story and Andre's stories are of particular interest to us today, right now. This space is for us to hear their stories. I know each of you has a story, and I hope one of these days we get to have a story circle. But I want to make clear that these two men, as much as they've had a platform for music, they haven't really had a public space for sharing their personal stories with people in their community. So this is our purpose here. We invite you to open your ears and open your heart to their story. And we will be around afterwards if anyone cares to share a story. But I do want to let you know, I'm sorry, we won't have time to hear from all of you about your stories, but we will be here afterwards if you'd like to talk with us. I'm going to turn this over to Clovice Lewis right now because Clovice is going to introduce the man of the hour. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would ask you, if you need to speak, please whisper. I want to thank you all for coming today. This is truly a great pleasure. I have a few words to say, but first of all, I want to introduce Andre Williams, and then I want to say a few things about him.
Okay.
So I have to admit that I lifted this off of your website, but I thought it was a really good summation of your career. Okay, so let's see if you agree. You're an R&B vocalist, songwriter, and producer.
Yes.
You're considered to be a quote pure vocalist because you have a tenor voice that works both with R&B and jazz. Grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and your love for music began at a very early age, like mine did. I thought I invented rubber bands that make different sounds. You worked with artists like Dorothy Moore, the Pointer Sisters, and also the Whispers album for Your Ears Only.
Right.
Okay, but you're best known for how you joined forces to become the lead vocalist for MC Hammer in 1991.
Right.
Okay, and you were with him on the Too Legit to Quit worldwide tour, and you continue to perform with him now?
Right.
Okay. So your performance credits with MC Hammer include the Arsenio Hall Show, American Music Awards, Soul Train Music Awards, and the video Bring Our Brothers Home.
Right. For veterans.
For veterans. Put a pin in that for a few minutes, because we're going to get back to that one. So how'd I do? Is there anything missing?
Great.
Okay. All right. Just for people in the audience and for people looking in online, I want to say a few words about what we're doing here tonight. Okay. Lisa Kaplan, the Middletown Art Center's executive director, and I met following a presentation that I made in the first meeting of a local community action group that was formed following the death of George Floyd. It was called Community Call to Action, a loving response to systemic racism in America. And Lisa approached me to see how I might collaborate with her to address issues of racism using music as a vehicle to raise awareness to the Black experience in this primarily white rural region that we're in. And I can tell you in 2019, I composed a musical set in the 1920s, and that deals with systemic racism. And I was subsequently incorporating that into research that I was doing in seminary as part of this graduate ministerial program, where I was examining African music of liberation. And the Middletown Art Center has been working with me to produce this series of interviews and performances of African-American musicians. And we call this series Sounds of Liberation. And these are interviews and performances that are based on the premise that music by people like Andre and me, in large measure, is an expression of the struggle against racism that we've personally experienced. And this is the fourth and final Sounds of Liberation presentation. So Andre?
Yes.
One thing. So that is the segue here, and I just want to make sure that I want to make sure that everyone understands that we're not going to put anybody on the spot in our questioning. Later on, we'll have time for people to ask questions. You're not going to be sitting here because you're an expert in anything.
Thank you.
Okay. Other than your own experience.
Right.
All right. And so in the course of our time together, we'll talk, and I might be inserting a question or a comment, standing in some ways for the audience as they might wish to engage you. So I want you to feel comfortable telling me when there's something you don't want to talk about.
Do I get a bell or something?
No, you can just hit me. You can just hit me.
Okay.
So how do you feel about this so far?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Let's go. I have a series of questions. And so first thing right off, I want to ask, how do you identify racially, ethnically, or culturally?
How do I identify?
Mm-hmm.
First, as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
and a brown man.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When did you recognize that you were a brown man I mean, you were not a brown man at the time, I'd
Yeah,
imagine. But
no, I
when
was.
did you first like feel, oh, there's something I'm defined as a racial in racial terms?
Hmm. I'd have to say, well, first of all, I was born very light.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look so brown when I was
Mhm.
born, when I was 1 to 2 years old, and then things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to show you a picture one day, my baby picture. But uh, I really noticed it when I start visiting Lake County
Mm-hmm.
at probably 5 or 6 years, no, maybe 7.
Mm-hmm.
7 years old is when I started coming here. And me and a cousin, we used to walk down Lakeshore Drive, and we'd hear some choice words
Mm-hmm.
from the back of a truck, a bunch of kids in the back of a truck, and that was the first time I had ever heard anything like that out loud being yelled at me.
Mm-hmm.
Being born in San Francisco and being from San Francisco, I didn't, it was much of that because everybody was everybody,
Mhm.
Black, white, green, blue, you had a variety of colors there. So no one could discriminate. But being him and I being the only ones on the block or on the strip at that time,
Mhm.
you're gonna get it sooner or later.
Is this 50s, 60s?
60s.
It's in the 60s.
Yeah, stop
Yeah.
it, stop.
I remember when I was growing up, my father was in the Air Force, and I lived in what we could call a bubble. Like you, I didn't in the Air Force, which was actually at that time wanting to be an anti-racist kind of a society. The military was very, very keen on creating an environment where they could sort of lead into the future and show how how America could be.
Yeah.
But it was as soon as I got off base, it was I was in a different world, and I remember this feeling of finding myself realizing that I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. People were saying bad things to me, and I thought, oh, it's because of the color of my skin. And I don't know about other people, but I remember I'd take a bath and I wonder if I could rub this off. And you're talking about being lighter.
Yeah.
And then as you grew, you see what the implications of that were. So you were in San Francisco, but you came up here a lot?
Yeah, I came up here a lot because I was the youngest in the family, and my parents wasn't going to let me just hang out in the city and get in trouble. You know how the city is. Everything's going on, Yeah, so I appreciate that because I it could have been the other way around. So I spent a lot of time up here with my parents. I had to come up on vacations, come up for the weekend. I got tired of hanging out with old people. So I finally got a friend to start coming up with me, but you can only skip so many rocks at Red Bud. So I was getting bored. I was throwing rocks at trees. So I have a pretty good picture. I could throw a ball now. Spend a lot of time alone throwing rocks.
What did you I was talking about how when I got off the Air Force Base, I was subjected to a lot of the kinds of racial slurs and things that you would experience too. And I remember what it was confusing for me because the messages I had as a child were different on the Air Force bases than were outside of the Air Force bases.
Yeah.
How would you describe the messages that you got growing up in San Francisco?
Well, growing up in San Francisco, my neighborhood was prominently Black. I had white friends, Black friends, Chinese, Filipinos, Philippine. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Filipinos. Yeah. Jalapeno. No. So and it was a variety of people there. I never, in being in Clear Lake, my parents had white friends and different. So I never felt like that about anyone, you know.
Mhm.
All I know is love everybody.
Mhm.
The only time it's just kind of funny here. I went to an all-black church.
Mhm.
So for a long time, I didn't think white people went to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, white people don't go to church. And then my other thought growing up, I said, white people don't have birthdays.
Yeah.
Because they wasn't, no, really, they
Yeah.
wasn't at my birthday party.
Yeah.
So I didn't think, you know, they're not at church with us.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not at my birthday party. So maybe they don't have birthdays.
You
You
know,
know?
that reminds me when because we were in the Air Force, we would travel from one place to another, and often we would be in the deep South. We would be traveling one place to another, and I could read at the time, and I remember my parents were looking. I would look and I'd see like these signs for coloreds, for whites, and I asked my parents, "What is that? Why are there so many signs for coloreds and whites?" And my parents said, "Well, that's where they do laundry." So I grew up thinking, these people in the South, they're the cleanest people in the world. They 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 wash things everywhere. so not, not going to church, that's the did your parents, I mean, like in that situation, my parents didn't actually tell us what was going on.
Mhm.
With did your parents talk about race as
No.
a thing?
No,
Yeah.
they taught me to love no matter
Yeah.
who it was, no race, no color.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know, you know?
Yeah, I had the same
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Being in the Air Force is like, well, everybody was in this bubble, like I said, in this
Right.
society.
Right.
And when you go off base, it's sometimes a different thing. So your off base was coming up here
Yeah.
in some way.
This was my off base.
Yeah. But so church, that was a place where you saw a lot of saw most of the Black people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
And
Baptist church in San Francisco.
what was the experience for you musically,
As far as what?
as far as music and religion? How did that work for you?
I've always loved music, and I've always listened to a variety of artists.
Mhm.
So there was no color in music
Mhm.
except for the colors you play.
Mhm.
And so that's what I dealt with musically. Later, after Hammer took me to some southern states where I'd never been,
Oh, wait a minute.
you know,
This is like in the 90s you're talking about.
this was in the 90s.
Okay, what happened?
Really late. See, you were
Mhm.
talking about earlier with
Yeah.
the color thing.
Uh-huh.
You know. But we were in Birmingham, and I didn't know it was still like that. You know,
Mhm.
I've heard about it. You know, I've seen things on television or something, but
Mhm.
you know, it's like this is TV. It's not real. Nobody's that crazy. You know. But I went there, and what do you call the guys with the round hats? Not a sheriff. It's now we're gonna play that TV show. Round hat, glasses, dark
Oh,
glasses, gun.
I don't know. I
You
don't
know,
know.
no,
Oh,
no, in the South.
they got sheriffs in the South.
Yeah, but it was a ranger or something like, yeah,
Yeah.
state trooper. Where is it?
Troopers.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
State
troopers,
right.
yeah. Pulled the buses over. We had 10 tour buses and 10 40-foot rigs.
Mhm.
But the buses were last to get to the show because
Mhm.
we're coming from another, maybe 4 hours down the road. And they pulled the buses over and asked, whose show is this? Who's running the show? We said, the bus in the front, So he went to Hammer's bus and said, this your show? He said, yes. He said, you do your show and get these people out of my city.
Mhm.
I said, whoa. So he came back and let us know, hey, we're going to do the show. We're not staying here tonight. We're going to leave after the show because we had the hotels and everything. Everything was booked already,
Mhm.
So that was the first time I felt and heard that face to face,
Mhm,
where someone don't like you because of the color of your skin,
mhm.
you know, and that was the most ridiculous thing. And later, no, earlier that day after sound check, we were trying to find them all like we always do, get some fresh whatever.
Mhm.
And the taxi driver, he was driving. I told the dancer, I said, "Hey, that guy, close your eyes, just listen to his voice. Don't look at him.
Mhm.
Listen to his voice and then look at the picture." So he listened to his voice. He said, I said, "You sound like a black guy." And he was explaining to us, yeah, because I was here and I was in, I had a job here and there. And if they knew I wouldn't have this job. I said, "I told you he was black." But he looked like a white guy. You couldn't tell by looking at him. But when I heard his voice
Yeah.
and a couple of features I looked at on his picture up front, I said, "Man, this guy, he sounds like a black guy."
Because my father was stationed more in the South, Texas,
Yeah.
Alabama, different places. I you're talking about that. I remember once when I was younger, I did a lot of speech contests.
Mhm.
And at the time in Mississippi, this was about 1972. So it must have been 72. In Mississippi, what they did was they would record kids like me doing our speeches, because the idea was that they'd be able to tell the black kids and they wanted to seem more open-minded.
Mhm.
And I got there and I did my speech, and apparently they couldn't tell that I was black. And I won for the state of Mississippi, the Veterans of Foreign War speech contest.
Yeah.
And so here I was. Well, thank you. And the speech was on brotherhood, by the way. But the funny thing was is that I they there were men, they were all men, veterans of foreign wars, were mortified that I was there, because I actually showed up, and they said, "Well, this thing isn't working anymore." so they couldn't tell by my voice.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing. There's
Well, they can tell by mine. That's for sure. That's why I have this place now, because I
Yeah.
couldn't find a job. You know,
uh,
they can tell by mine.
this
But,
place. When you say
yeah,
this place,
yeah.
what do you mean? This place.
But I get things done sometimes because I can do imitations of different things. You know,
Mhm.
I've used it quite often.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
called it. This.
I have a country voice.
You,
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
you guys have any jobs
Yeah.
down there? You know.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean the voice is a powerful thing.
Mhm.
But I've also had black people that I talk to on the phone,
Mhm.
and they ask me, "Am I white?" You know,
Mhm.
it was a girl that I was, you know, like trying to talk to. How you doing? "Oh, you're a white man." "Oh,
I can be.
yeah." If you
Wait,
wish.
but I think that that's a really interesting thing. One of the things that people don't talk about is black on black prejudice. Like I remember in the South, was where I was. It was like if you were lighter, that was better. Have fair skin, or hair, and that kind of thing. And in the research that I did for Harlem Voices, I found this thing that they did that was called, at the time in Harlem in the 1920s, brown paper bagging. You ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah. And the idea was that if you were darker than a brown paper bag, then you couldn't go to this party or whatever. This is the kind of prejudice that comes from living in a
Right.
society that is really race and color oriented.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd heard about that or not.
Never heard about that.
Yeah.
Well, I know I wouldn't have been invited to any parties.
But in your family, in the extended family, did you see that sort of that that prejudice of for lighter skin and what they called it, good hair
In my family
in your extended family.
or my extended family.
Mhm.
No, I couldn't say that.
Mhm.
Why? Most of my extended family was like about my complexion.
And in San
Yeah,
Francisco as well.
yeah. Every once in a while, you have a cousin that you didn't know if that was your cousin or not. That was a little lighter and you really didn't care, you know.
Right.
But no, I didn't. Not. I couldn't. I don't remember any. I don't recall that.
Hmm. Um, uh, were you in the military? Did I understand you were in the military for a while?
Yes.
Like a minute?
Air Force, Army, and Marines.
What?
No,
Say
I'm
that
just
again.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, no, no. I wasn't in the military.
You were not.
I was the youngest in the family,
No.
my brother went. He was in the military. My dad was in the military,
Mhm.
but I don't know if you know. But I was the youngest, so I guess it was a thing then, or something like the youngest child didn't have to go or something. I don't know.
Was this during
Yeah.
the
If I was the only child, probably wouldn't have went.
was this during the Vietnam era
Uh,
that your brother went in?
but he went in it was probably in the 70s,
Mhm.
about 70, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't think he liked me anyway, so I didn't care.
So, I asked you to put a pin in this Hammer song, Bring Our Brothers Home."
Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with it, the song was released between 2006 and 2007. And it was a military-inspired rap song with a political message to George Bush about sending American troops back home from war. It was called Bring Our Brothers Home."
Right.
And apparently the video was filmed on the Santa Monica Pier.
Right.
All right.
Mhm.
And what in your mind was the message of that?
The same message that the president was speaking on at the time, bringing the soldiers home. And Hammer wrote a song about it and said a few words that I don't think the president wanted to hear, because for some reason we stopped doing that song on tour. Yeah, it all of a sudden disappeared and he didn't say anything.
What can you say about the song? Was it the lyrics? Was it?
It was the lyrics, yeah.
Okay.
We should watch it after this so everybody can
Mhm.
see what it was about.
And
But it was something said that
Mhm.
probably didn't sit well with someone,
Mhm.
you know, and we're so small in this world,
Mhm.
you know, and you can disappear
Yeah.
if necessary.
Mhm.
So you have to be careful with certain powers when you're writing songs or saying anything, you know, especially musically. You see what's going on with the rappers, you know, because they said something about another rapper or something. So imagine saying something about a president that have a lot of friends.
See, I was not familiar with the song until you posted it for Memorial Day the other day. So I went.
Veterans.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Veterans Day. And I went and listened to it. And I think I heard what the message was that you were talking about. And I thought, oh, I wonder what happened with this. And I was thinking about this, about how it was sort of a reminiscent of Muhammad Ali's talking about black soldiers coming and fighting for a nation that was racist towards them. And I wondered what that did. It got a lot of attention.
Yeah, it was on CNN for about 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. Could have been 6. But I was seeing that video, you know, a lot on CNN, and the interview with Hammer on CNN as well. And so it's a very political video. And a lot of it, he was saying he was for what he's doing, and I voted for you. And then he started saying some other things that I can't remember right offhand, because I'm not much of a rapper, but I just sang the hook
Mhm.
and bring them home. So nobody called me. I was just helping. I was the janitor.
Okay, so helping. What can you tell us about your experience with Hammer?
Where do I start? It's a great experience. It's been 31 plus years, maybe 33 years now. We're very close, like brothers. He's closer. We're closer than our own brothers, you know. And it's been a good experience. And I've traveled the world with him that long, the last 5 or 6 world tours. He's a great person, family man. The funniest thing is when I have a baby, he has a baby. So he admired what I was doing. So my youngest kid, who's an artist, Kevon Williams, he has a video on the media stuff. What at this, at that. What's that? Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some stuff on there. But he's my youngest son's godfather. So, and the type of guy he is, I don't care if the airline ticket is $2,000. If the little guy asks, can he go somewhere, Mike, get him on the flight. You know, he's there. He don't care what it takes, you know. So, and he's like that with his kids too, you know, whatever they want, he make it happen.
What I read about you is that you are a songwriter and a vocalist and a producer. Can you tell us about your producing? How does that work for you?
It works well. I love it. I'm very creative when it comes to music. I play piano to write. I'm not just get on the piano and just go, but I play enough to write, and I hear what I hear in my mind, I put to the keys and make song out of it. As a producer and as a writer, as a producer and a writer, and I'm an artist, of course. I forgot the other question, but I'm gonna act like I didn't, so I'm gonna keep going. I was started with Fantasy Records, writing with different artists and doing demos for the Spinners.
This is before you met with
right before
Hammer.
I met Hammer. I was 19 when I signed with Fantasy Records, Creedence Clearwater. I'm sure you remember them. They built the company. That's why the big pretty building is Creedence, you know? So I was artist on that label, doing demos for Dramatics and which is an R&B group, Lenny Williams and the Spinners and Dorothy Moore. And then I started writing for Dorothy and did some writing on some movie soundtracks, you know. And so that as an artist, that's some of the things I've done with before Hammer. I started as a drummer in the late 60s because James Brown was just my man.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So those grooves, I had to learn. I tore up a bunch of Sears sets, you know, Sears and Roebucks. So he had to finally spend $1,000 to get me a real drum set. Because you just spend $1,000 after I tear 5 of them from Sears, right?
Yeah.
So give me the real deal. And then I started playing, you know, started a band in the neighborhood, me and the guys, and First tour to Japan was with Cold Fire. Had a hit out Party Hardy. They were with Capitol Records at the time. And so that's where my music started from, San Francisco, early 60s, up until now.
Do you have a philosophy about music?
Today?
Yeah.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
A raindrop in a melody will do it. It's just about the promotion and how much money you put behind it. As far as music, it doesn't take a big production like before. I would rather hear the big production or not if it's a good song, good melody, you know. But I'm more into these days, more into the big band sound, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., that type of stuff, because I had to make room for myself.
That's my man.
Know? Yeah, I can't keep up with who's the guy, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Neo. I'm not trying to do all that, man. Turn one hand flips. I'm not going to do it.
I grew up. I grew up on I told my father that a little while ago that I grew up having headaches on Saturday mornings because my father would play Sammy Davis Jr., O.C. Smith, all these people. And I woke up with a headache because I was just listening to this music as I was waking up. And B.J. Barnum, do you know that guy, the arranger?
No.
Anyway, so a little while ago, I started writing this new musical that was taking place in the 60s. And I remembered all that sound, those kinds of big band sounds and the orchestrations and everything. So I'm wondering about when you write music, do you hear the orchestration? Do you have somebody orchestrate it for you?
No, I can hear. I can hear every part.
Mhm.
That's what bugs me about some of the bands that I performed with before. They don't listen to the song to learn it. They make up stuff that's not in the song, and that is not the song anymore. Even the kick pattern. I hear the kick drum, I hear the guitar part, and the little bells on the side that some people don't hear. I have a friend like that too that hears everything, and so we have discussions that the band don't understand what we're talking about. It works.
Yeah. When you were younger, did you did you decide that the voice was going to be your instrument? And how did that work for you?
I didn't want to sing when I was younger.
Hmm.
I decided the drums was going to be my instrument. I would sing by myself, but I didn't want anyone to hear me. So my first recording, it was just drums and vocals and the melody.
Was it like a sound on sound recorder, like one of those?
No, my mom took me to the studio. I didn't even want to go there. I think I recorded it at home, and then she took it and had it pressed.
Really?
Yeah. It started out on this very hard metal type. I guess that's the master that they make the wax out of. But I just did vocals and drums. If I wasn't under the weather, I would because I can still sing that song, and it was about a girl. I remember that.
Well, they're always about girls. My first song that I ever wrote was about a girl. Yeah, that's always my cello is named Enola. That's about a girl too. So do you consider yourself more of a performer than a composer or songwriter now?
Well,
or is it all equal
kind
for
of
you?
50-50 because I
Really?
love both.
Uh-huh.
I like it because it brings smiles to the audience and the energy that you get back. I love it, and the creativeness of creating it. It's just within itself. It's just I don't know. It's something magic about it.
I call it yummy.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
tasteful.
it's
Yes,
yummy.
I
It's
was
yummy.
thinking. I was trying to think of
Yeah,
a way to say.
I saw
yummy.
you doing that.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's like
I understood what you were saying. Yes, yummy. That's
Yeah.
the good stuff.
yeah,
That's yummy.
yeah, man.
So,
Don't get a headache.
yeah,
Don't get a
okay,
headache.
yes.
That was Sammy.
But now let me ask you another question. When you're producing other people. What's that like for you? What is your relationship with younger people that, do you find them? Do they come to you? How does that work for you?
Well, since I'm not that young anymore, I don't like younger people.
Uh-huh.
That's why I have this place. I don't want to be around them up there, But they're okay. But they're the respect thing and the cockiness and they'll cuss out a 80-year-old. They don't care. Hit him, whatever. So I should have been a police officer. I could have straightened some of this out. But what was the question though?
Okay.
Yeah, let me get back to it.
Well, let me combine that question with another question.
No. Let me have that one. Let me have that one.
All right. The
Because
question was,
that was a good one.
when you're doing production, you're producing other people.
Oh,
okay.
Go ahead.
So, like in particularly younger people, but I'll let you just go on and take the whole spectrum of age. But
Okay.
what's it like for you to produce other people? Where do you find them? Do they find you? Do you go someplace and say, I want to produce you? This would be a good thing.
Well, it happens both ways, because if I know someone, or I'll call and say, hey, what's going on? Or you know anybody looking for tracks? Oh yeah, the Whispers are looking for a track. Or friends that play with them say, hey, the Whispers looking for songs, man, submit something. If you have, man, I'll go right away. If it's, you know, if I'm feeling it at the time, I'll go in and write it. That's what happened with the Whisper situation. Buddy of mine called me, said they're looking for a song. I was already in the studio. So drop everything. Let's start a new track. And I have an idea for them, because I've been listening to their sound so long, you know, and when I did that, they even called me after they heard it and said, man, how do you sound like us? You know, I said, well, I used to come to the rehearsals with a friend of mine when I was 16, and I've been to all you guys' rehearsals. I mean, I don't miss it if I don't, you know, if I'm around. So I take their sound, even Lenny Williams, I'll imitate his voice and write something in that style. You know, even the Pointer Sisters, I did some tracks on them for the movie soundtrack, Night Vision. And they did that. It's an HBO special now. It still comes on sometime. I don't know why I'm not getting a royalty check, but it comes on. It still comes on. Somebody, what, you got to take care of your paperwork, you know? Yeah, and I didn't.
Well, one of the things I noticed when I listened to samples of your work, it's really varied. There's a lot of different sounds. You don't have just one particular sound. And I was just wondering if you purposefully do that. I mean, you're just talking about being able to match sounds from different people. Is that part of your philosophy then?
No, I get bored. That's why I have more than one business. You know, because don't laugh. Somebody knows me. That's why I have more than one. I wake up, man, with all these crazy ideas, and I just pursue it, because this is my only time here that I know of. So I'm gonna make the best of it. I want to touch everything. But man, I be going off on my own thing. What was the question, man?
Well, if you have to ask, I'm doing my job okay.
You are doing great.
When you are producing other people, that was the question.
Okay, right.
All right. But it goes into your answer goes into the question of what is your process as a musician, your own process when you sit down to write a piece of music. It's for me, it's up here, and I have a mind where it's like it's a multi-track recorder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I explain that to people, where I can hear the music, and I can hear it going forwards and backwards and upside down and backwards. Right. It's like just adding all the layers. And I thought that everybody felt that way. I remember when I was a little kid, it was like, well, people were amazed. You know, I was writing music, and I would say, well, you don't just read, you read and write, right? You know, it just sounded really natural to me. But that facility that you have, do you have that in your mind?
It's in my mind, especially if I'm driving. You know, I do a lot of from here to Sacramento to go home, and I'd be bored, and I get tired of talking to myself. So I have to come up with some creative things of music ideas, who I want to write for, what they sound like, and I can hear all the parts, you know. So sometime I'll record it on my phone, and then I'll sing with that through my speakers, because, you know, harmony parts are just. Oh, I really like being here. Don't you wanna come and go with me? You know.
Yeah,
I
I
hear
know.
all the bars, you know.
Yeah.
And then you just make up something crazy like I just did.
Yeah. Well, the technology that's available to us now, I would have killed for that when I was a teenager.
You're not a teenager anymore?
No, not anymore. But no, I remember
but
when
you
I
can
was
still do it though.
I still do it.
Yeah.
I remember multi-track recorders, multi-track cassette recorders. My father had one, and then he couldn't understand why he couldn't keep it in his room
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
always taken.
even when I didn't know, I had 2 tape players, cassette players,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd sing a part.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
probably did
yeah.
it too. I'd sing a part and then
Yeah.
I'll play it,
Yeah,
and I'll sing the other
yeah,
part on this
right,
one.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
I did this. I did the same thing. My father had that multi-track recorder, right? And I had written my first symphony. I was 17 years old, right? And I would try to say, you have to hear it, because I'm not a pianist, right? So I wasn't even going to play them. I played one part on the cello, and then recorded another part, which would be the violins, and then I was trying to sing another part, and just like put as many voices together as I possibly could, so I could tell people what this thing sounds like, right? But it was never what was up here, right? And so the technology that is now available, I would have killed for a smartphone where I can do these kinds of recordings, right?
I thought it was natural for people to hear all the parts. Some of my friends that's musicians, that's been musicians for a long time. You don't hear that part?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I can't hear it. Okay, play it again. Play it again.
Yeah.
You heard it. You heard it that time. It went down. No, I can't hear that. Just like that one song. Tell me if you hear this, because I have a buddy named Vanderland that lives here, and we all fall in on this one part. I don't care where I am in the club, we'll do it when we're up here listening to a little bit of country. But it goes. Listen to the guitar part. I'm gonna do. Okay. People say I got a drinking problem.
Yeah, right.
That ain't no reason to stop. People say I gotta get down, because I'm living on the right. Have you ever heard that guitar part before? Down. Huh? No, it's not enough people saying yeah. You've heard that part, that down.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 people over here. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, little parts like that. Yeah.
Hearing music.
Yeah.
I don't listen to music. I know. And it's because I'm always performing, and it's like something that I do. And if I'm in the car, I want to listen to talk radio or something.
Yeah.
Because for me, music is a conversation. It's something that if music is going on anywhere, I pay attention to it. It's like somebody talking to me.
Right.
For me, it's like that. I was wondering if for you have that, like, if I'm intentional, I want to listen to music, I will do that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about hearing those sounds, what is it like for you? For me, it's like that conversation. If you hear music going, is it something that you can turn off, or do you just, does it get filtered in?
It gets filtered in. I hate turning music off. I have to have music. I get pissed off at the bartenders when they don't have music on.
Yeah.
Who's in this building with no music on? Oh no, I have to have music. I hate to leave the house without music playing.
Okay, so
I don't like turning it off.
Another question. I often talk to people who say that music is like a soundtrack for their lives. Does anyone else feel that way? It's like you put on a soundtrack, you hear music, and music makes you feel a certain way. I feel good today, or whatever. What are your travels to and from Sacramento like?
Well, it's all music. Or I get in the mood for talk radio. Sometimes I get in the mood for classical music. The only music I don't get in the mood for is hip hop.
Oh,
rap.
I knew you were going to say that.
That'll make you run into somebody. Don't listen to that stuff. I'm telling you. No, it makes you violent.
What is it about it that you don't like?
The message. I don't like the message. It's negative. It downgrades women. They downgrade each other. It's just all negative. A lot of it. There's a few good songs. There's a couple of Tupac that's talking about mama and whatever. I could deal with that. Hammer songs. that's why a lot of my friends didn't understand in the beginning why I'm going off again. How I got involved with Hammer, because he's a rapper. I even questioned that when I was in the studio and the guy said, I got to hurry up because I have a session coming in. This guy named Hammer. I said, who is Hammer? The rapper that dances. I said, man, I don't listen to no rap, right? So I leave. He's still playing my music. Hammer comes in. He said, who is that on the track? Well, that's the guy that just left. He said, oh man, call him and see if he want to put a group together to do the world tour. I need 5 singers. I need 5 guys and 5 girls. If he can get some guys together and they can come down and audition. So he called me. I said, and he's with Confunction, one of the lead.
He was.
Yeah, it's the leader of Confunction. So he called and said, yeah, the guy, Hammer wanted to know if you want to do the world tour. They're looking for some, put a group together for the world tour. I said, man, I don't do no rap. I don't even listen to rap, So he said, no, there's some singing part, there's vocals, I said, all right, I'll check it out. Send me the music and I'll listen to it. And so we went down and got the job in 1991, and that was history. I'm glad I did it.
Rap was, it was really interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I would like to know what your thought is about this. Hammer, over time, he was considered like one of the pioneers of rap.
Yeah.
And then over time, people felt that he sold out, that all of a sudden, over time, his music was not punchy enough, or it was too commercial. And then the rap world sort of diverged off. And Hammer is writing not only rap, but also music behind it.
Yeah.
And what was your thinking about that?
Well, he has a good, like we were talking about, the sounds and different things in music. He has a good ear for that. So he's similar to what we were talking about. But what I think about that is I would love to sell out right now because $100 million sounds good.
Yeah.
I can really use that. I would put some new bricks up there. They would be gold, but there'd be some bricks, gold bricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot of that back in the day. And he bought helicopters for the police, and he did that. He's selling out, he's doing commercials, he's doing movies. Oh, what a sellout. But look now, everybody's doing it, Right. Yeah. Oh, look, he have 100 dancers on stage. No, everybody have 100 dancers on stage. Not as many, but close, So it's been good. Yeah.
Well, when you look at your career as a musician, think about where you've been. I see that you've got some ideas about where you want to go. You just dropped a song not too long ago called
They Don't Know.
They Don't Know.
The one you mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We did a video on that.
And that video that you're talking about, when you and I were talking about this, how technology has really made our lives as musicians, as creative people, easier. Can you talk a little bit about that, about how that was produced?
Yeah, that was produced by accident. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was produced because I was in the process of putting a team together to do some filming for a sitcom that I've been working on for a while now. Just haven't had time to start shooting, but pretty soon. I bought some camera equipment and I wanted to test it out to see the quality of the equipment. So I said, well, I'm stuck on this script. So why don't we just shoot a music video? So I took this old song from 30 years ago that I wrote, and we shot a video just to check the quality of the camera. And so that's how that came about.
But wait a minute, hold on a second.
There's more.
There is more. And I think you're being a little bit too modest.
I am.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The film, you shot it in different places around the Bay Area.
Hometown.
Right.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Right. And what occurred to me when I was watching that is that, gosh, this place is pretty photogenic. There's a lot of places. You at Pier 29.
Yeah.
You're overlooking 39.
39. We went to another.
Yeah, it was
theater,
39.
39.
You're
also,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so so you went a lot of different places, and
Yeah.
and I was really impressed with the quality of the film
Yeah.
or of the images,
Mhm.
because even if it was like accident, it was really good. I
Yeah.
thought.
I
Yeah.
shot some here in Clear Lake. The jewelry scene.
Oh, really?
That was Ness Jewelers.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
huh,
Yeah, I
huh,
said, "Oh, let me get my buddy in there." I said, "Hey, can I come in?" He said, "Oh, yeah, sure." I said,
huh.
never know where it go,
Yeah, yeah. Huh,
Yeah, so I did some
very
stuff
good.
there. I had the reason why I wanted to do the sitcom and whatever acting is just fun.
Hmm.
I did a co-starred in a movie with Fred Williamson, and we shot a lot of scenes in Clear Lake, and we used the police station and the police cars, and there was a film called Sugar Race.
Really?
Yeah, it was an HBO thing. And wow, there you go. Who said that? Huh?
What year?
What year was that?
Let me think about that. Yeah, ballpark.
We'll be doing a lot of Google searching later.
Ballpark. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, 12, maybe 2012. Could have been 10. Try 10.
Try
Yeah, it's been a
2010.
while.
Okay. Clovice saw that I'm standing here to let you know that I could listen to you talk all night, and I'm sure everybody else here could, but we did promise some time for a Q&A. So I wanted to
Yes.
give you time for another couple questions, Clovice,
Okay.
but also to let you know that these people here should start thinking. If you have any questions, a follow-up from something that Andre and Clovice were talking about, or a question of your own. We also want to welcome our Zoom audience and ask if there are any Zoom questions. Those will be relayed to me by our techies over here, by Ami. So I just wanted to say that. So a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I wanted to say too that we were intending to do music today, but it's not going to be possible with the voice that.
Just loosen it up. Just
So,
loosen it up. We have
not
to.
tonight.
Some people
Yeah.
want to hear a song or two.
Yeah.
I'll work it out. We'll work
Okay.
it out.
All right. So overall picture, question that I have, and this is not a political question, but it has some bearing on that. Okay. In this moment where we are, where people are politically, racially, in all kinds of ways, in feeling opposite. Earlier, you said that it's about love,
Right.
music,
Yes.
and the role of art. What are your thinking? What do you think about the role of art as a way of healing and informing the moment that we're in?
Well, I think music is important in that aspect, and we need more songs to justify some of the things that are going on and around. And we need more positive songs, more positive music, because it brings on positive thoughts. I've experienced that in Clear Lake with some DJs, just to give them an example how you can control the room with the music. And I do that here all the time, when I see people that look like it might be a problem, put on the piano music, and
Put on classical music.
Yeah, classical anything.
Yeah.
Excuse me, can we do something about the music? I said, no, but the door is right there. If you don't like it, there's a couple other places you can go, I said, it's 12 o'clock.
Go down the street to
Yeah,
drinks.
yeah. No, at 12 o'clock, this is what we play. That's what I tell you. 12 o'clock, we just smooth things out, you know what I mean? So I've experienced there's a lot of control you can have with music or create with music. It's weird. I mean, even when I had the restaurant over in Clear Lake, guy come rushing in. Yeah, man, give me an order of chicken wings. Yeah, can't sit still. And then when he sit down, gotta go and hurry. He sit down and listen to the sound of who I used to play every day, James Taylor. And that guitar and stuff get to him, and it's smooth. And then, excuse me, I'll just have it here. Yeah. I said, man, look what the music's doing to this guy. So that's what I do to these guys up there. I brainwash them with the music.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yeah, put on some nice jazz or whatever. DJ was playing this stuff, you know, playing. He said, man, can we change the music? I said, no, it looked like some rough guys over there. I said, let me show you something, how to control them. Put on Too Short. Very negative sometimes. Very negative. Terrible.
Yeah.
And at first it was calm, listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, playing pool, enjoying the night. As soon as he put that on, they start raising the stick in the air. Yeah. Yeah. I said, see how hyper they get now? Now change it, you know? Man, so yeah. So where were we, sir?
We're talking about the arts.
The arts.
Yeah. And the role of art
Yeah.
in healing.
Yeah. Healing. Music is very healing.
Right.
Very good for the soul. That's why I can't turn it off. You know?
I'm ready to relinquish this.
Well, you don't have to
time.
relinquish the stage.
No, but
I'm
let's ask some questions.
I'm going
I'd
to
love
ask
for
people if
to
you have a
ask.
question to raise your hand. I'll bring you the microphone because we are recording this for people who couldn't be here.
I didn't know that.
Just like we recorded Clovice's conversation last June, a year and a half ago, Juneteenth. And it's available on the Middletown Art Center website if you want to listen to some of Clovice's other stories and hear him play cello. I want to start with the first question, Andre, which might not be fair. You said your voice was loosening up a little bit and you might be ready to sing. What would you sing if you were going to sing?
Whatever you want me to sing. What do you like me to
Well,
sing?
we want to know what's moving you.
Mr. Saturday Dance, heard they crowded the floor, couldn't bear it without you, don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club, da, za, 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 got as far as the door. They all ask me about you, don't get around much anymore. Ready? Oh, it's some Louis. Darling, I guess my mind is more at ease.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That was wonderful. Anytime you want to interrupt audience questions to sing, you just wait.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll sit still for it. I had one question to get us started, and then I'm hoping to hear from other people. You talked about that moment where the song you did with Hammer was shut down.
Yes.
Bring Our Boys Home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. You said it just went away and nobody talked about it.
He didn't talk about it.
He didn't talk about it.
Yeah, no one else really knew what was going on. No one ever, I mean, they was just dancers. You know, they're young, they don't care.
Well, I'm curious though. I am curious about what it felt like to you as an artist who was part of the making that art, as a man who knew about people who went to war, wanted them to come back, as a self-identified brown man. What did it feel like to you to have that song disappear, become invisible, like you said earlier?
Well, I didn't question it much myself. I just felt something went on that he didn't want to talk about. You know, sometimes it's best to just let it fade out, because we're still on tour, we're still working, so it's not like the song stopped anything, you know, but it did stop a message that he was putting out there that someone didn't like. There's no way we would have just stopped that song abruptly like that. You know, it was a great song, and people, they need to hear that. A lot of soldier families and people, military people, that really appreciate the song, even today. You know,
Yeah.
You get a lot of hits, probably over 1 million now on YouTube. Or
Listen
something.
to it if you can.
Yeah.
Because
listen
as
to it.
Clovice said, music is a conversation
Mhm.
for artists like you. It's not for me. I'm one of those people who listens to a talk show on the radio and talks to the talk show. So that's my conversation. But it means you tried to start a conversation with the music and it got shut down.
Yes, well, you started a conversation with the wrong person.
Yeah.
You know how that goes
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes you just have to back up, you know?
Interesting.
Even here, I mean, sometimes I back up. A lot of times I don't.
Good. Anybody got any questions for Clovice? Yeah, good. Let me bring you a microphone so they can hear you better.
Hi, how are you, Mr. Williams?
Hi.
I have one question. After listening to you, you're from San Francisco,
Yes.
which is my old playground where I was. Why Lake County? How did we end up here? I mean, truly, how did we end up here?
Both you and she want to know.
How did I end up here?
How did she and you both end up here?
Well, just like we end up anywhere else, our parents who decide this is a better place than another place. And I just happened to love it once I got up here, you know. Now I can't leave. I mean, I leave, but you know what I mean? I come back like a rubber band.
One experience here that you mentioned earlier, and it was dealing with race. I don't know why, because like you, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You're in school. Those are your friends. Everybody's your friend.
yeah. and-
So you had this unpleasant experience up here, but you opened businesses here, Mr. Williams.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering, what made you do that?
Well, it's back to the parents again. Those kids in the truck didn't have good parents as far as I'm concerned. Because you need to teach everybody to love. If both of my sons, my daughters, everybody know that I don't play that game. So they never even thought about it. It was never even a thought. My daughter knows more country songs than they have written. Yeah,
So you brought love to Lake County.
She goes every country concert, you know, all her friends, her sisters are white, you know, I have white daughters, I have new daughters. Yeah, I just love everybody, you know. And
Well, thank you for bringing
yeah.
love to Lake County.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to just hand this to you.
First of all, Andre, I want to thank you for opening this place and
Thank you.
for bringing the breadth of culture to our community, both with the drinks where the young folks that you try to stay away from a little bit have found to end up, and then bringing a place here for those of us who have been around a little longer. And I have a question about your performance. And I have told people about this during the middle of a couple of times I've seen you do this, where you pick out a woman in the audience and you give them a dead microphone,
Mhm.
and then you ask them to sing. And the breadth of your range that reflects, but how did you learn to do such great ventriloquism? Tell me about how that came about for you to do that bit in your shows.
Well, it's just a part of a show. That's what entertainment should be. They say show business, you know, the business, and this is the show part of it, where you create funny or involvement with your audience. And that's where I came up with that at. And as far as changing voices and doing things, my brothers and sisters I used to sing with growing up. So I get a lot of, I don't know if you remember the thump in the head used to be a thing. Yeah, if you sing a wrong note, that's why, you know, harmonies and stuff. You're singing the wrong, okay. And they're much older than I am. But me and one particular sister, we used to imitate a lot of people. Miss McGillicuddy, I just remember the name. I don't remember what show that was from. Oh, Mrs. McGillicuddy, you know, and Miss Doubtfire, you know, people like that, you know. Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire, the kitties, you know. So we did a lot of clowning around, and you learn voices or whatever. I don't know where I got the range from, maybe from my grandmother or something. because I hear she was a singer and used to sing to me a lot as a baby. But I don't remember that, but I guess it did something. It took some type of effect.
We've got a couple questions from our Zoom audience that I'm going to ask Thomas to read for
Oh,
me.
somebody's really watching this.
Yeah, they're really watching
my
it.
God.
Yeah.
They do.
You got fans out there. We have a comment from David Becerra. Any tips on balancing music, business, and family life?
Don't try it.
Don't try it, he says. Don't try it.
No, Dave, there is, let's see here. Any tips on balancing? I would say take care of home first and or pretend to, however you want to do it, but just make sure your wife is happy, one thing for sure. And it would be her idea to, well, why don't you go do a little music? Pout a lot, just pout. That's what I do. I sit around and she said, well, maybe you should go do some music. I said, yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
So the secret there is happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, just keep her happy. She'll decide you should go practice or something. Get tired
Okay, then
of sitting around crying.
The next question is from Kathy Walton. She would like to comment on the conversation about black on black racism.
Come on, lady.
Reason of colorism within the black community.
The reason?
Yeah, that's what she asked.
Well, it could have something to do with, first of all, drugs and alcohol in the black community being overloaded and overstimulated. Maybe that has something to do, because alcohol and drugs can make you pretty crazy, pretty loopy. So I don't know, it might have something to do with that.
I think if I'll answer that.
Yeah, please do, because I'm thinking something else now.
My brother says that human beings discriminated against each other for the craziest reasons. And he says that even if all of us were exactly the same mocha colored, we would be discriminating against people because their eyes are different colors or because their feet are different sizes. It just simply is one of the things that we human beings do. And then when you combine that with the fact that we live in a very racist society, it's not hard to see how that works, especially also considering that there were privileges during slavery that were there for people who were lighter and had, quote, finer hair and so on. If they looked more white, they got more privileges. So that's how that came to be.
But she was speaking of black on black, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so it's around the board. I understand what you're saying, around the board. But there's a bit of brainwash there, that it worked, but it's there.
It sounds like you have another thought too, Andre.
I have several thoughts.
Okay. You willing to share them with us?
Not at this time.
Okay. I wish this would turn into a song right now.
Oh, it might.
Me and my shadow.
But go ahead. You have another question? Yeah.
Yeah, we got another question right up front.
Yeah, it's more of a comment. I've seen you guys perform many times, being a photographer and videographer in this county for many years. And I've really enjoyed, shooting you. Yeah, you might say. And in your performances, Andre, where I've captured you was at Soper Reese. And the thing that I think is really marvelous in your performance, and I heard you say the word, I was waiting for you to say the word entertainment, and you finally said it. And because to me, that is what you're a good musician, creative and all that, but your connection with the audience, the entertainment, getting the lady up there to sing with you, but you got them up there dancing, you get off the stage, mix with the crowd, singing, you make us feel a part of the whole musical experience
Mhm.
that you present. And I really want to compliment you on that,
Well, thank you.
because I know that that is out of love and connecting people. What you're hearing
Oh,
tonight from you
yeah.
saying about how the first thing that came out of your mouth, people being together, love.
Right.
That's the first thing that came out. And the way you express that on the stage and your audience is really magnificent. And I hope a lot of people get to see that, because you are very much an entertainer.
Thank you.
And it's been a joy watching you. And I'm not done. There's this other player here. I just know that I enjoy how I think you should get a strap and pull that baby up there and
Play cello like a guitar.
But you too are also the same way,
Oh,
in that you try to get people and you communicate to
Mm.
the audience. It's not up there, you just play music
Mm.
and do your thing. No, you both are connected to the audience, and then you all make an effort to do that. And I think that's fantastic. It makes me want to come back and watch you again.
and thank you for your photographs. They're wonderful.
Yeah, so there's a real connection between community music and communications.
Mhm.
It's okay. So Andre, a question for you. Fill in the blank. The thing I am most excited about in my life right now is,
Music and people.
Mm.
can you elaborate?
Well, we have music and we need to write positive songs to deliver to the people to keep them good. To show put the love in the music, and it could be so rewarding as a listener to hear things that make you feel good. Some music don't make you feel good. It's just music, or bad music. They said there's two kinds of music. Is what? There's only two kinds of music. What is it?
Good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad. They say
Right.
country and western. I say good and bad. Either it's good or it's bad. It's all music. I just try not to listen to the bad stuff. But yeah, we have to spread love through music. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what most of the people that I work with try to do, is get the message across to bring everyone together. That's what it's all about. Doesn't matter, white, black, whatever. I know what we're talking about today, but I just love people.
Mhm.
I'm lucky my grandson is white and black.
Yeah.
And that feels lucky for you.
And that's
Yeah,
going to make a better
that's-
world.
that's
Once
gonna
Yeah.
make a
once
better world.
everybody's black and white, then we in there. We won't be here then, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
We have some overflow crowd in the back. I just want to look back there and see if anyone had a question for Andre and Clovice. Hold on.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you both for a super interesting conversation.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to commiserate a little bit with Clovice
Mhm.
about not listening to music. I don't make a habit of that. I would much rather perform.
Mm,
I'm with you.
mhm, mhm.
See, and I'm more with Andre, but I don't perform.
Is
I
it-
have to have music on.
Is it time for public confession? Is it-
Always time for public
All right,
confession.
well, I can tell you, remember earlier I was talking about how my brain works, where I hear music all the time. I perform all the time. I'm constantly behind my cello. I spend a lot of time doing music. So a lot of times music is my work. But even if that wasn't true, the thing is that music is for me a language. And when I hear music, I see the score.
Mm.
When I was 13 years old and I just started playing music, there was this song called The Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Here's got
There's
to be a morning after, right? I thought that was the most beautiful music ever composed in the entire world. So guess what I did? I got the recording and I dropped the needle and I wrote it out. Every part, every note, every instrument. And I was able to do that. So for me, when I hear music, I see everything. It's a physiological thing for me. And so it is work. And I can do the other thing. If I see music that I've never heard before, I see a score and I hear it. So it's just that it's kind of like, okay, I pay for it this way. Music for me is like somebody talking to me, or I can't ignore music.
Well, there's something innate in you then, in both of you. You talked about your responses to music that essentially you seem to have been born with, and that opened up something inside of you. As long as you're doing public confession, Clovice, can I ask you about the connection between music and your spiritual calling? Because you've recently become an
A
ordained
Unitarian minister.
Yeah, an ordained minister.
Music is music is the language of God. It is the language of the divine. It is the language of the universe. And music is something that I take very seriously, because, as Andre said, it is a way that it's sacred, and it's something that I have as an integral part of my ministry. And I can honestly tell you, I did not see that at first. Everyone saw that before I did.
In you.
In me, yeah. So now I embraced it completely.
So you say music is God, music is sacred, and Andre tells us music is love. That seems to be a kind of a complete circle.
Oh, so we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
But he's great. I don't read music. A lot of people say, well, how can you write music if you don't read it? Because I hear it and I feel it, but I don't read it. Like you were saying, you see the score. You know, so that's I probably would see the score if I was a reader.
Right.
But me and Stevie Wonder, we don't read no
Yeah,
music.
that's right. That's right.
And Ray
But you,
Charles, we
fe-
just
but
feel
you
it.
feel it in some
Yes,
way.
we
And
feel
so
it.
you get to listen
You
to
know?
it.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be, both of you from your orientations, what drew you to the music? I know, Clovice, electronic music is an important part of your composition, and classical music is your training.
Yeah.
Do you think there's some connection? And Andre, you talked about R&B and the big band music, the Frank Sinatras, the Sammy Davis Juniors. Do you feel like the way you experience music may be part of what attracts you to that kind of music?
I don't know. You know, I was taken out of a nightclub in Oakland by some original ink spots that wanted that was looking for a tenor singer.
Mm. Take your time.
No, it's just that they're not here.
Yeah. They're here with you.
Yeah. They're no longer here.
Mhm.
Just give me a minute.
Oh, please take your time. You are bearing witness for them. You're bearing testimony for them. We're with you.
I can answer that question for myself.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I'm
well-
saying they taught me so much about exactly what we're talking about,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know?
About music.
Yeah, and during the
Life.
big band era
Mhm.
and having to go in through the kitchen
Mhm.
Yeah. Clovice, if you want to give Andre a moment to.
We are what our lives tell us to be. My father was in the Air Force, but he was an electronics technician. When I was growing up, I listened to Vivaldi and everything else. At the same time, I also sorted resistors and capacitors and helped my father. All six of us would help him build Heathkit machines and electronics. So we're all geeks. We're all programmers, or we do electronics. And so I was attracted to electronic music because literally I was the only guy who knew how to analyze the circuit boards or the Moog synthesizers. And so also my father was one of 11 kids, and they were all musicians.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We
Yeah, but
appreciate.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
yeah.
We're
I forgot
listening.
Where I was on that, but I think
Well, I can tell you.
I think one of those old cats in this building, because somebody touched me.
Mhm.
But yeah, anyway, they pulled me out of a club and taught me about the big band stuff. Patrick Best and Jim Gordon. Pat was the writer of Sentimental Reasons,
Mhm.
and that's how he made his living. And a lot of other hits that he did. Lucky Logger, stuff I wasn't even born and never heard of, but they taught me those songs and about the big band era. And that's why I have so much love for it. I had never did it before. They hired me to do Vegas and Laughlin and Tahoe and Reno, and but we were there. We were there weeks at a time doing the big band stuff. And I just appreciate that experience and being able to work with some legendary guys like that. And I'm sure both of them have passed on. I've tried to get in touch over the years, but no luck there. But anyway, somehow we got on the big band
Well,
subject.
it's wonderful, though. You just connected us to them. Thank you. Thank you both so much for sharing your stories, for being vulnerable with us. We really appreciate it. Clovice Lewis, Andre Williams.
Can I say a few words? I want to say a few words in conclusion. Andre, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for, I told you that we're going to open some stuff up and we did. And
Yeah.
this is I am honored and very, very humbled by these experiences. I want to thank you and all of the people who shared with me their stories in this Sounds of Liberation series. This is the last of it. And I think we need to do it a little bit more. So thank you very much for all being with us.
Suck on you. Got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't use. Yes, I'm on my way. Need a friend, and the way I feel now, I guess I'll be with you till the end. Yes, I'm on my way. Mighty glad to stay. Mighty glad you stayed. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. Stuck on you. Been a fool too long. I guess it's time for me to come on home. Yes, I'm on my way. So hard to see that a woman like you can wait around for a man like me. Yes, I'm on my way. Mighty glad you stayed. Mighty glad you stayed. Oh, I'm leaving on that midnight train tomorrow. And I know just where I'm going. I packed up my troubles and I throw them all away. Cause this time, little darling, I'm coming home to stay. I'm stuck on you. It's been a fool too long. I guess it's time for me to come on home. Yes, I'm on my way. I needed a friend. And the way I feel now, I guess I'll be with you too. Yes, I'm on my way. Mighty glad you stayed. Mighty glad you stayed. I have to ask the men something right now. I have my reasons. I'm not going to say why. But in your older age, do you find yourself getting more emotional? Oh, so we're like, oh, come on. Love movies. Yeah. No? More emotional? Okay, so it's normal because huh? They say men don't cry. Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. That's what I thought. Man, I get emotional about everything, it seems like. My son, when he comes to the concert with us, he sings background now on tour with us. And if he gets any little singing part, you know, sometimes Hammer call him out on the spot, I get emotional. This kid, he makes me cry. What do you have? You have another song? Don't do Still. I'll start crying. Don't do that. I can't do it. Let's do something that means something like, look up that song. We'll do one more. Love's in Need of Love today, because that's what we're talking about. Stevie Wonder. You know that? Anybody familiar with that song? Good morning, evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. You find it? That's okay. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster, could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. Is that love's in need of love today? Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, keep that for me. Going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Have you ever heard that? Because he can't get his computer going. I just said, let me give it to him. Give it to him how I can. I don't know. What else do you have over there? Is that album that it's on? Okay, last one. One more then. Don't go changing, try to please me. You never let me down before. I don't imagine you're too familiar, 'cause I don't see you anymore. I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times, I'll take the bad times. I'll take you just the way you are. Don't go trying some new fashion. Don't change the color of your hair. Hey there, you always have my unspoken passion. Although I might not seem to care, I don't want clever conversation. We never could have come this far. I just want someone that I could talk to. I want you just the way you are. I need to know that you will always be the same old someone that I knew. Hey, what will it take to you believe in me the way that I believe in you? You say I love you, that's forever. This I promise from my heart. I could not love all of you any better. I love you just the way you are. Conversation, never want to work that hard. I just want someone that I could talk to. I want you just the way you are. Just the way you are. Oh, just the way you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Clovice and the staff. Definitely.